Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Touchdown Talk, College Football Edition. I'm back after a long week. Today is Friday, October 31st, Halloween. There we go. We have Week 10 college football upon us. A lot of bye weeks. Not crazy matchups, but still some big-time ones. A lot of pivotal games. I have 7 bets this weekend for y'all. I found 7 bets in this slate that I think are bet worthy. So, before we get into that, quick thing. If you are new here, which a lot of you guys are, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. It keeps me going, lets me know that you guys want to see this content. And if there's anything else that you guys want to see, I know college basketball is coming up. I'm a big fan of college basketball. I've got something to look forward to with the Hogs being as good as they are this year. So let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to see some college basketball content as well. I know I do strictly college football, but this would also give you all something else kind of watch as well. So I can give conference predictions, futures, bets, just like I give in college football. So, yeah, just let me know down below players to watch out for. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, I do not have any bets for tonight. I know there's a couple games: Memphis, Rice, Syracuse, North Carolina. Nothing there that I want to take. If anything, I would take that Syracuse North Carolina game just because. Actually, I don't know why. That'd be a gross game to watch. No Steve Angeli. Really, Syracuse has looked like a completely different football team since he's torn his Achilles at Clemson. So, no Friday night action for me, but let's get into the Saturday games, kicking off with 3 11 o'clock games. First one, Ohio State versus Penn State. Total is about 45 in this game. Ohio State minus 19. A gross game. I expect it's at Ohio State, so with all of the commotion that has been around Penn State for the last few weeks, obviously with the biggest headlines possible, your head coach getting fired in the middle of the season after being one play away from the college football playoff championship last year. No big deal. Won't get into that, though. I think Penn State is going to have a hard time keeping up with Ohio State this game. Ohio State's defense is averaging about 7 points per game this year, their defense. They've just been lights out. They've been better than last year's defense. Offense had a slow start to the season, but I expect them to. They are starting to come into form a little bit more. Julian Sains looking comfortable back there in the backfield. 18.5 is what I have it as, and I'm going to take that all day. I'm not scared of it being like 28-10 or something like that. I think Penn State may score a touchdown, and that's about it. I expect Ohio State to come out and roll. Julian Sayin is looking noteworthy now as to the quarterback that people thought he would be this season. So, quick reaction there, but give me Ohio State minus 18.5. I think they cover that and by more. Just a gut feeling that game. Now, this next game, tossed and turned about this. Texas playing Vanderbilt in Austin. Texas is minus 3 with the potential of Arch being out. That's what's playing a factor into this. Model thinks that Texas would go up to minus 7, maybe even more if Arch plays. And I agree with it. I think, but even if Arch does not play tomorrow, I think there's still a good chance that Texas defense shows up and they come out of this with a win. With that being said, though, bottling up the run, Texas defense has to bottle up the run. Pavia and just the committee that Vanderbilt has. If you can do that and force Pavi to throw, which has been a little suspect this year. Last game against Missouri, 10 for 19, 129 passing yards, and an interception. If you can force him to throw and sit back in that pocket and have to resort to that instead of moving around with his legs and keeping the play alive, you give yourself more of a chance. Now, this over-under is 47, I think. I think Texas, even with a backup quarterback, if they can hold Vanderbilt to a gross game and somehow get 10 points, I think Texas gets 17, kind of like the flip of last week for Vanderbilt. They're just on the losing side of it. I think Texas, with back against the wall type of mentality for the rest of the season, gets the job done this weekend. Kind of as a resume builder, kind of making that case to, hey, we still belong in the college football playoffs. Right now they're sitting at 2 losses. Yeah. They're pretty much going to need to win out, and this game right here is a big big builder upon what you've been trying to get back to. I think Sark will have his guys ready for tomorrow, just knowing the implications of what this is and the roster that has been constructed with this team and how much money has been dumped into it. I think Texas gets the job done. Give me Texas -3 tomorrow. Miami coming to town at 11 a.m. against SMU. SMU has not been pretty this year, but you have Miami off a bye week, where the week before they looked terrible. More specifically, Carson Beck looked terrible. So, if there's one thing that SMU can do that Louisville did to disrupt Carson Beck, it's kind of play umbrella coverage, but at the same time have enough pressure to actually get back there and force him to throw into some of the stuff that he did against Louisville. Now, when I say 4 picks, 2 of them were deep bombs that typically, Florida State, they worked out. Notre Dame worked out. You just have to have blanket coverage over the top. If you can have that, then I think plus 10.5 is a lot of points for SMU. I also think if they can control the ball this whole game, then they can keep it in that 10.5 point range. I know Kelvin Jennings, whatever his name is, I know Jennings, has not been what we thought he would be this year. A lot of people expected him to build off last year, college football playoff quarterback. He just hasn't been that, but maybe he can figure something out with them this weekend. I'm not saying that they're going to win. I don't think they will, but I expect them to keep it close. So give me SMU plus 10.5 there. Moving into our afternoon slate, we have a game that I'm going to tomorrow for some reason. Arkansas versus Mississippi State. 2 teams that find a way to almost always win and somehow don't. Close losses every game. Spread is 4.5 favoring Arkansas. And the over is one of the highest overs I've seen in college football in a long time. 66 flat. I expect both teams to have about 500 yards combined. Not combined. Separate, but combined 1,000 yards. I expect it to be through the air. Conditions looked well up there tomorrow. No more running, dominant type of games. I think if you can air it out, both wide receiver cores are pretty good where they can make plays after the catch, make broken tackles. So I think over 66 is not a stretch. I think this could be a 42-35, 42-40 type of ball game. And Talon is such an improviser that if something's not there, and the pocket's not collapsed on him, he can use his legs and get out and run all day. Chapin, on the other hand, could tear apart the secondary for 350-plus passing yards. And it wouldn't surprise me, So I'm going to take a lot of touchdowns tomorrow. That's what I'm going to be rooting for. I think there's going to be about 10 or 11. And there could even be 20. So Give me over 66 in that game. And then moving on to our night games, I've got 3 of them. Ole Miss minus 12.5 versus South Carolina. I say this because there's been a lot of drama around Lane Kiffin and a lot of drama around Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer and the South Carolina team just experienced one of their hardest losses, hardest chokes of the season and probably the past couple of seasons. Going to Ole Miss, where Lane is not going to let all these coaching rumors get to him or his team. He's going to instill that confidence in them. I think Trinidad Chambliss has a good game against the South Carolina defense, and I think the win that Ole Miss had at OU last week was something that needed for their defense to kind of get right. And I think if you can contain Lenoris and not let him be a playmaker with his legs, then you're going to walk out of here covering that 12.5 easy. And so, quick recap there again. But yeah, Ole Miss minus 12.5. Tennessee versus Oklahoma at Tennessee in what is a very big season-defining game for both teams. Tennessee is minus 3 against OU. And I think that if you give Joey Aguilar enough time to throw to these wide receivers who have proven themselves, they are young, but they have proven themselves this year. If you give him enough time to just sit back in there in the pocket and throw the ball all day, he's going to take advantage of that. And OU hasn't really been the best in past weeks at getting back to the quarterback. You know, we didn't see it a whole bunch last week with OU, but also at the same time, on the other side of the ball, if Tennessee can't get back there, John Mateer is going to throw to Satania, Deion Burks, all those guys. So I'm expecting fireworks. I'm expecting a high-scoring game, as it should be. So really, we'll see there. The defining side of this game is going to be Neyland. It's going to be rocking. Night game, a lot of implications on this game. I trust the home team here to get it done. If not, then, hey, good job, John Mateer and OU. That's the win they needed to kind of turn around. But I see Tennessee getting out of here with a win and covering minus 3. Now, that seems like very much push territory, but we're going with that. So, yeah. Last bet of the night is USC at Nebraska. USC is getting minus 4.5 at Lincoln Field. Now, Nebraska has not beat an AP-ranked team in 28 games. 28. And this USC team doesn't lead me to believe that Nebraska breaks that streak. I mean, you have Jane Maeva, Kai Lemon, Jacoby Lane going into about every place and putting up a huge number of points. This over-under is 59. I haven't seen a Nebraska total that high in who knows how long. But Nebraska, Dylan Raiola can go out there and throw for 300 yards easily. USC's defense has not really convinced me, but they are better than they were in Caleb Williams' years and the past few years. Now, with that being said, I'm going to trust Lincoln Riley in this offense a little bit more than I would trust Nebraska's defense and Nebraska's offense to put the ball in the end zone, pretty much. That's what this game bases on. I think Mekhi Lemon has a huge game. I mean, that's pretty much a week in, week out type of thing. He has it every week. But USC seems like the better equipped team. You had Michigan come back to the Coliseum a few weeks ago. You trounced all over them. You did what Big Ten football does to everybody, and that's run the ball down your throat, and they did that for 200 yards. So if they can also get that type of production from the ground game, I'm not even saying 200 yards, but if you can get over 100, 150, yeah, I'd say that it sets you up pretty well for success that game. So, with that being said, give me USC minus 4.5 versus Nebraska. The streak of 28 losses against ranked opponents still continues. That is all I have. Quick recap of the bets. Ohio State minus 18.5 versus Penn State. Texas minus 3 versus Vanderbilt. SMU plus 10.5 versus Miami. Mississippi State, Arkansas over 66. Ole Miss minus 12.5 versus South Carolina. Tennessee minus 3 versus OU, and then USC minus 4.5 versus Nebraska. Let me know down below if you guys agree with some of these, disagree with some of these, or have any other bets that you think are your best bets for the weekend. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys tonight, and I will talk to you guys, I guess, on Monday after Week 10 is wrapped up and we recap the whole week. So, see you guys.